sort of see that coming forward. So.
Absolutely, and I know that you guys went really well in this competition last season. You just missed out on getting to the final, losing to Leicester in the semi. So how much do you guys relish playing against these Premiership clubs?
Massively. I think it's obviously a huge test for us, and we like to test ourselves against sort of Premiership opposition. I think that's what we're all striving to get to. So yeah, no, obviously looking forward to it, and hopefully we'll have another successful campaign.
What's the message tonight? Because we just saw the
the physicality battle, that's going to be massive, and then yeah, just back ourselves and enjoy it, and hopefully we'll get the result off the back of that.
Thanks, Ruben. All the very best tonight. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
Yes, we're all set here. Then it's going to be a good one this evening in southwest London, and almost certainly a challenging one for these Quins youngsters against Ealing, Championship champs last season, and a side who made the semis of this competition too last term. This is going to be tasty. Kick-off here at 7:45. And joining me pitch side for this one, I am delighted to say, is Chris Ashton. Although you have come wearing a duvet, and it's actually quite mild tonight. I'm in a jacket with my sleeves rolled up, I'm just saying.
I came from Wigan, it was -3 up there.
Okay, good
it's
point.
Freezing, but I am overdressed.
You are? Well, yes, you are, but you know, I appreciate it. I'm not enjoying this tonight. We've been hit several times by rugby balls. So anyway, good to see you, even if you're a bit precious about the weather. But I really love these matches.
That
is an actual fact.
Which adds a little bit more to it. That's why Quins have added a bit more bolster to their team. Yeah, I think the spice is good.
Yeah, and Ealing, they've got something to prove. You know, they're a Championship club who want to be in the Premiership, but they also know how to beat Premiership clubs. They did it last season and they did it last week against Sarries.
Yeah, last season in this competition, they came so close. Got to the semi-final but got beat by Leicester Tigers right at the end of the game. They would have really wanted to get to the final in this competition.
Some very familiar faces, and they've got 225 international caps on show this evening.
Yeah, I think Joe Launchbury must have been walking down the corridor at the wrong time and Danny Wilson caught him. Actually, Joe, I could do you putting in your team. It's a young Harlequins team, so I think it just adds experience, and it's really good in the week, you know, when you've got players like that around and you're a young player, like you just learn off them, you see how they do things in training. It's just great to have players like that around.
Shall we talk some more about the players out on the field of play tonight then? Let's start with Ealing, and someone maybe who we're looking forward to seeing is Tom Collins, someone who you played with at Saints. Were you at Saints?
Sure. Nathan Earl on the other wing, Biello was at Saracens too, but Tom Collins, yeah, was at Northampton. It's good having Premiership experience in the Championship, helping them push. I mean, Ealing have been pushing at the top of the Championship for a good few years now, so having those players, especially on the wings, finding their way to the try line.
And he knows his way to the try line,
yeah.
Tom. I think he scored 6 tries, am I right, in the last 5 matches? So
yeah.
Looking forward to seeing what he's going to do out there tonight. And then from a Quins perspective, we have a young scrum half, Lucas Friday. You might know his dad, Sam's legend, Mike Friday, of course. And I'm just really excited to see Lucas out there.
Yes. Anytime soon, because he's definitely going to.
So young.
Yeah, he does look young. He's going to be getting his ID checked. That is for sure. But yeah, he made a great start last week. They're really pushed. They're really keen for him to get going. They've got high hopes for the kids. So let's hope he has another good game tonight.
We're saying that these players look really young. Maybe we're just getting really old, Chris.
Yeah,
maybe that's what it is. But look, it's great, isn't it, nights like this for players like that, just to prove that what they can do and put their hands up for selection when the Premiership starts back.
Yeah, I think it's really good coach. way. You've got to make sure the kids know what they're doing.
Absolutely. We're very, very much looking forward to this one then. I'm sure you are at home as well. Ealing was so close to making last year's Premiership Rugby Cup final. They were beating Leicester in the semi-final before this late Matt Scott try broke Trailfinders' hearts. Will they? Can they go one better this year? That's the big question. Kick-off is next. Join us back here later.
Oh, the pick and go. Textbook. Sponsored by Thatcher's Gold.
Discovery Plus is the streaming home of TNT Sports.
This is the place to be.
Feel like the boss with our interactive features. Watch that last-minute winner on repeat.
Absolutely speechless.
With Discovery Plus, the streaming home of TNT Sports.
You in?
Of course, sunglasses.
We are not standing still. From the 100% green electricity we make to the communities we support.
Welcome back. 30 minutes from kickoff, 20 minutes from Haka. The rumour is Rico Ioane.
And now it's time to execute.
What do you want to improve on from that performance, do you feel?
Finished a few opportunities. We created a few, maybe kicked a couple of bullseyes should have held on to, and a bit of discipline.
And how do you view this rivalry? It seems to be developing, doesn't it, with every passing encounter?
Yeah, I think over the last 10 years things have, the storyline's changed a little bit. Ferocious rivalry, you know, Irish rugby's at one of the strongest points it's ever been, so, you know, the performance on field, you're not just sure which way it's going to go, and that's great for sport and footy.
And just for you personally, is this a proud moment to be here, particularly in Ireland?
Yeah, it is. It is. Obviously got a bit of personal history. Played in the All Ireland leagues back in the day, and, you know, I've got some people close to me in the stand, but I've still got a job to do. Thank you. Cheers. Thanks a lot.
So many brilliant battles today, but Brian, the back row battle is one to relish, isn't it?
Yeah, this could be the make or breaking of the game for either team. Really stacked in both on both sides. If you look at the quarter-final of the World Cup, I think it was won there. New Zealand just got the edge on Caelan Doris. Sam Cane chopped the life out of him at his knees, stopped to go forward. Multiple turnovers in the first 15 minutes just gave them a momentum. So keep an eye out for this. It will be all-consuming.
We know most of that All Blacks back row, but Wallace Satiti is a star who's really beginning to shine. This guy is just box office, isn't he?
Yeah, some player. I mean, alongside Surveyor, you think you've got two great ball carriers, Brian, but you're talking about chopping. I think Ireland might try and do the same because you can't afford to go high on this guy. He's got the feet of a centre and the hands and the skills of a sevens player. He's a brilliant player, isn't he?
It's the acceleration, and it's on both sides of the ball. Obviously, we saw him with the offloading, 4 offloads last week, but being able to rip that off George Martin, he's no shrinking violet. So there's physicality to him, but there's a sublime athletic nature to him as well. He looks like he's come from sevens. He looks like he's equipped for it, but my God, he is brilliant at 15.
I think he has something like 6 or 7 offloads. He's also got meters in the tackle, so he's got the physicality that you'd expect. But you've got to target the ball with him. You cannot let that right hand go through the tackle and offload because he will create opportunities.
Satiti, Cane, Surveyor. It's just such a well-balanced back row. You were at Twickenham last week, the win against England. What did you see there? What were the learnings?
Well, I think actually the big disadvantage for New Zealand tonight is they've already played. So all the referees will have seen what they've been doing. And a lot of it was tackling on suspicion. They did this on numerous occasions.
So tackling on suspicion?
Yeah, it's taking the outside or the inside ball carrier away without the ball. So that's a different example of it. But the one before, you get the guy on the outside, you hit him. And what it means is actually is that they can't support. Little dummy there. Again, you see another tackle. That's just in case. He's already committed. He wants to win the collision, so he wants to drive back. That's 2 in succession. Now, that is deliberate, and it obviously has big impact in your offloading game and continuity. Angus Gardner was told about it last week before the game, and it was really evident that he spotted 4 or 5, and the TMO actually came in on 3 or 4. I think the Irish coaching staff will have been to the referee tonight. They've been into Nick Berry and they've said, this is going to happen again. You have to keep an eye on it because we like to play with fast continuity.
And what they're going to do is they're going to load that front line. So have 2, 3 options there because you're not going to be able to pick up every runner. And you might pick up the odd penalty here or there, but you're also, with the knowledge the referee's looking out for it, you're going to put people through some spaces.
And penalties, who knows, because it could be tight margins. It's usually tight margins.
It's a non-suspicion. It's like a Deacon Blues song, isn't it? I just like, okay, maybe not. Moving on.
Thanks for coming, Oz. Emma, he's got no dignity. That's a Deacon Blues song. Thank you.
Let me rescue you, Craig. Let me rescue you over here. Talking about playmakers, we've already talked about Jack Crowley. Let's talk about Damien McKenzie, though. Beauden Barrett started last week, but a great opportunity again for McKenzie tonight. How will he differ, do you feel, from what Barrett brings to the side?
Yeah, they're similar in styles of play. In terms of style of play, they're relatively similar. I think Damien McKenzie's short kicking game is excellent. I think Beauden just nods ahead of him in terms of game management. He generally finds to not overplay his hand or force things too much. I think Damien, being a fullback transitioning to out half, you can have that tendency to try the offload when it potentially isn't done. So his game management piece tonight with slippy conditions, slippy weather is going to be very difficult.
I was going to say that. We've been watching the warm-ups and the players have been dropping the ball. You have to say these slippy conditions, Craig, are going to have an impact. How much? Time will tell.
Nothing to worry about. Jordy Barrett's on his way to Leinster. He'll get used to playing in the Aviva Stadium next season. The best way to really integrate, pull a couple of pints with the lads. That's what happened during the week. Have a look
Yeah,
at this.
we just got in against Sunday afternoon and just got recommended a nice dinner spot from a local here and just popped down, had a meal and a pint of Guinness. So you can't do much these days without it popping up on social media. So just a quiet night, went for dinner and had a Guinness and then popped home and that's about all it is. It's inevitable. I'm going to be moving to Dublin. Obviously before I go on, I've got a job to do here with the All Blacks, Ireland, France and Italy, which are massive test matches, and that's where all my energy is going at the moment. But quality club, outstanding coaches. I mean, you got Caelan Doris, who's arrived, he's Leinster captain, Ireland captain now, quality player, and guys like Jamison and James Lowe who have paved their own way here in Ireland and world-class players on the international stage now. So, look, I hate to single out a few, but I genuinely can't wait to rub shoulders with a lot of the team, and getting around two world-class centres like Robbie Henshaw and Gary Ringer. I just love to pick their brains and try and combine when I can on the park with them. I guess the appeal of European champions, big games, big stadiums, while I'm still young enough and got the legs in me, so I'm massively excited to, I guess, grow my own game, put myself in a different situation, environment that I'm not used to, and also, yeah, just get around the Irish people, Leinster players, and enjoy such a 7-month stint over here.
He spent a load of time over here when he was a kid with his dad and his brothers, didn't he? He knows the role. He knows what he's up to.
What a signing. What a great signing. You know, I don't know where he fits in the Leinster backline, but we'll worry about that again. But, you know, you have to remember, obviously lovely having him coming, but he was probably the biggest reason that Ireland lost in the World Cup quarter-final, holding Ronan Kelleher up with 5 or 6 minutes to go over the line. So this guy's a big-time player for them. He's been out injured for a number of weeks. He came back last week, and he was very effective. He is guaranteed go forward. He's 6'5", 105 kilos. His advantage line personified. So he's going to be getting the ball, particularly in these greasy conditions, and going route one.
We're going to forget your Cork roots for a moment, Oz. Unbiased view, how's this going to go?
It's a really tough one to call, and I think if Ireland have 10 points up with 20 to go, I think they win. I think if it's close and that pack comes on for the New Zealand All Blacks, I think the scrum could eventually swing it in their direction. So I'm going to go Ireland by 1.
Ireland by... My word, can we cope with that? It's going to be exciting. Kick-off, live from Dublin, is on its way. We'll see you in a minute.
Go.Compare sponsors the Autumn Nation series on TNT Sports.
You guys ready? That's better.
This is Anfield.
Goosebumps.
The Kings arrive.
Never write us off.
Duran takes the shot. Duran! Oh my God!
Bro, I did not expect that.
Only sport.
Can do this. TNT Sports.
The only place you need to be.
What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. What the world needs now. What the world needs now is love, sweet love. No, not just for some, but for everyone.
Good on you. Flossing helps, but why not add Listerine? It's proven to be 5 times more effective than floss at reducing plaque. Listerine gets into the nooks, into the crannies, fighting the good fight with a swish and a zing. When you're taking on plaque, add Listerine.
The all-new Tempur-Pro Air Smart Cool, our coolest, most adaptive mattress yet. Born from NASA technology, billions of ultra-sensitive cells relieving even more pressure for ultimate comfort and support. Tempur-Pro Air Smart Cool, exclusive to Dreams. Tempur, the future of sleep is here.
James? Jenny? It's been 30 years. Where have you been?
Is that really a Hyundai?
It's Hyundai.
Hyundai?
If you think you know our cars and how to say our name, where have you been?
Chase is the digital bank that helps you unlock your money's potential.
What do you mean?
Let me show you. Look at your phone.
We're still in the kitchen.
But it's the future, where you use Chase's budgeting tools to help buy a...
New coffee machine.
And that's not all.
We finally made it to
Costa Rica. After creating multiple saver accounts, you could track and reach your goals.
What else?
When you invested through the Chase app, you had expert guidance, letting you plan for your future and his.
And his.
I'm going to uni, Mum.
See what your money can do when you spend, save and invest through the Chase app.
One chilly Christmas morning, fun for all but one. But 'tis the season of goodwill. There's a little magic to be done. When the bell rings, make a wish.
Thank you.
Now, Christmas joy comes in all shapes. Your wish, it's up to you. You could be craving the Christmas classics or something completely new. With a little magic, you can have it all. From sweet to fresh to hearty. There'll be more than enough for you to bring some old friends to the party. Given the power of a Christmas wish, it's important to dream big. The feast, the food, the spread, such joy. But is it not more Christmassy to give? A magical Christmas with Lidl. Gift a toy to Lidl's Toy Bank and share the magic.
Surf, now with a mood-uplifting fragrance. Oh wow. Smells that good.
Go.Compare sponsors the Autumn Nation series on TNT Sports.
It was all scripted and storyboarded. Paris became green. It was going to be Johnny Sexton's victorious swan song. We were #1 in the world. We defeated the defending world champions.
One big effort from Ireland.
It was all set. Until... yes, then.
Bang goes the dream.
Real life isn't scripted. And real life isn't drawn on paper. It still hurts. But drawbacks teach you life's greatest lessons. It's not about how hard you get hit.
Theatre, emotion, sporting rocket fuel.
It's about how hard you get hit and keep moving forward. Our journey didn't end then.
Ireland putting it through the hands. Oh, that is brilliant.
It keeps evolving.
This is the score. Yes! Stunning what champions do.
Let's show it tonight, boys. Against, yes, them.
Well, it's one of those special nights in rugby. It's one of those very special nights in sport. Why? Well, this is a rivalry that began in 2016 in earnest in Chicago. Tonight in Dublin, live on your television sets on TNT, it reaches brand new heights. It is Ireland against New Zealand in the company of Ben Kay, Brian O'Driscoll. But first, Alistair Eakin.
Thank you, Craig. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the hottest ticket in town. Dublin is hopping, the whole city just bubbling with excitement about this contest tonight. The latest instalment of an electrifying rivalry. For so long, for more than a century, one-way traffic in favour of the All Blacks. Not now. 5 Irish wins in 8 years. And of course the most recent meeting, that epic World Cup quarter-final, edged by New Zealand. Tonight, the Aviva Stadium, fully hydrated, loaded with anticipation, and a very special night in store.
The Autumn Nation Series here at Aviva Stadium, Friday Night Lights.
The renewing of friendships, two sides that have come to know each other very well.
For New Zealand!
All eyes in the rugby world settling on Dublin. This, of course, Ireland's first outing since the summer tests in South Africa. No cobwebs allowed tonight. New Zealand, by contrast, battle-hardened, squeezing past England last weekend and walloping the Japanese the week before. This feels bigger than both, though. World number 1 against world number 3. And a wonderful setting. But before the rugby, a moment to celebrate a couple of cherished figures of Irish rugby. Ronnie Dawson, an Irish hooker who captained the British and Irish Lions in 1959 on tour of Australia, New Zealand and Canada, went on to become the first full-time coach of Ireland and an administrator later in life. And Sir Tony O'Reilly, the youngest Lion in history as a teenager in 1955.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. And now,
two giants of the Irish game, and in the case of Sir Tony O'Reilly, a titan of the corporate world as well. And we're sorry for their loss, and our condolences to both of their families. So the Irish president, Michael D. Higgins, is on his way for a presentation to both the teams. A routine, a ritual that you're more than familiar with, Brian. Is it difficult at times when you're trying to think about the match to go through these sorts of pleasantries?
I think as a young player that's new to the international scene, there's definitely an air of nervousness, of a case of, come on, can we get on with this? Can we get that first whistle blown? But it's all part of the drama and the theatre. And opportunity to meet the president. Who doesn't want one of those?
Well, I've stood in those shoes before, and we might have got it slightly wrong diplomatically. We didn't know that Ireland always like to stand on the right.
Nor did we.
Looking at it. But to Brian's point, there's so many caps in this Ireland team. They're going to have to face the haka, which is part of the build-up. And people often say, well, treat it like any other game. Why? It's not any other game. You're playing as number 1 team in the world in Ireland's case, or in New Zealand's case, playing against the number. If you can't enjoy this moment, enjoy everything about it, the pageantry, the haka, there's something wrong with you. So those are the things you'll probably remember when you finish playing. Just the atmosphere inside this place tonight is going to be electric. Soak up every minute.
Just maybe a little easier to soak it all in when you're a tiny bit older, Brian. Fair?
For sure, and obviously I was lucky enough to be captain for a number of years. But you're never bored of it. It's part of the prestige and the history, and it elevates the occasion. It's funny, I remember one occasion the president introducing the team, and I was actually just calling them nicknames. They had forgotten their names, not forgotten their names, but it just so used to call them nicknames in camp, and I was introducing them by nickname rather than more formally to apologise at the end of the.
What was the worst nickname that you introduced someone as?
When it was a bad one, I muttered it.
Well, he's working his way down the line, Michael D. Higgins, and of course all the players' minds firmly focused on what might be about to unfold later this evening. We spoke about the different nature into which these two sides come into tonight, Ben. Rest or rust?
Well, I think we said it last week when England played New Zealand. The only worry for the Irish boys is they don't know the answer to that question. You can do all the training together, and obviously Irish rugby is blessed that a lot of those guys have played a lot of rugby together anyway, but you don't know until that ball kicks off, and it might literally come down to a fumble by one player that then can rot throughout the team, because it almost becomes self-fulfilling. Everyone's been talking about us potentially being rusty. We made a mistake, and now it's come to fruition. So I think the leadership within the Irish squad in particular have to get a handle on that. And if there are errors, they need to pull everyone in and say, look, don't worry, it's no different back to how things were 5 minutes ago. Let's just sort things out. A little bit of moisture in the air because of the earlier rain, so that'll make things trickier for both sides. But New Zealand, they will have learnt from their performance over the last couple of weeks, particularly against England. They won't have been happy with how they played. They made a lot of errors last week, and they will have had a lot of analysis done this week on how they can do things better, so they will be a better version of themselves as well.
Just to add to that, certainly the difference from my playing days was, I believe, is the quality of the training session, and they know that if they're a beat off by it, because the standard is so high, the expectation is so high, and when there's a correction or a change made to any play, everyone's expected to pick it up immediately. And so they're the ones that know whether they're right on point around being ready for a test match or whether they feel they might be a little bit off the mark. So I guess the first 5-10 minutes will tell its own tale.
The Irish, of course, have had their warm weather training in Portugal. We mentioned the conditions. A little different here tonight. It's drizzly, the ball will be greasy, but we're not far away now from kickoff as the president makes his way stage left. So too the anthems. God Defend New Zealand, followed by the two Irish anthems. Emotion writ large all across the stadium here, and the formalities almost complete. One very important element is left. New Zealand's haka. Forward come Ireland, and the haka tonight led by a man who can be assured of an enthusiastic welcome in Dublin, Rieko Ioane. To the teams, Ireland's front row significantly impacted by injury. Their tight head prop Tadhg Furlong out, hooker Dan Sheehan out in the longer term as well. Big evenings then for Finlay Bealham and Ronan Kelleher. Caelan Doris the skipper. Jack Crowley, the anointed successor to Johnny Sexton. Aki and Ringrose paired in the midfield. Mack Hansen winning the vote on the right wing. And Hugo Keenan back from his adventures with the Olympic Sevens. Well, the All Blacks had lost Cody Taylor from last week, so Asafo Aumua slots in at hooker. Hugely physical presence at Twickenham off the bench last week. The back five of that scrum remain intact, and Wallace Satiti unplayable at times against England. Damien McKenzie returns to the number 10 shirt this evening. Beauden Barrett out with a head injury. Ratimer keeping his place at scrum half. Talea and Jordan both amongst the tries a week ago. Geordie Barrett, a glimpse of his future Leinster teammates. Two youngsters pushing hard on Ireland's otherwise very experienced bench. Frawley with two late drop goals to beat the Box in the summer. Osborne close to selection too. And George Bell and Stephen Perofeta, the men added to the New Zealand replacements.
Long build-up for the players there, and you will have seen Ireland approaching the haka at the end, getting the crowd behind them. What you might not have seen is Ireland going off straight away and hitting some tackle shields, prolonging things a little bit while New Zealand, the All Blacks, got into a huddle. Ireland wanted to get a bit of blood running through their own veins, put some big shots in on the tackle shields each, and now they're set, ready to go for the big test.
Nick Berry of Australia is our referee this evening. Nights like these, matchups like this one, moments to savour. So many people waiting on this one. A crackle all around the Aviva as these heavyweights prepare to go at it. So much talent, so many subplots. Friday night lights in Dublin. Ireland against New Zealand. And the first touch, fittingly, for Caelan Doris, the New Zealand skipper, the Ireland skipper, in just his third test as captain. James Lowe, born at the top of the South Island, remember? Finding Barrett on halfway. Geordie Barrett.
Open up! Open up!
Well played by Keenan, ever secure.
It's passed in.
Crowley.
Lifted.
Strong line speed from the Irish. New Zealand back behind the gain line.
Okay, use it!
Ratimer, who had a relatively quiet game at Twickenham last week, at the base for New Zealand. He's charged down. Great bit of work from Andrew Porter, and have knocked the ball on New Zealand, and Ireland have just about the perfect start.
Yeah, well, great start from Ireland. Both teams feeling each other out. Couple of kicks, but we're seeing one of the new adaptations of the law, where the ruck, the 9, now cannot have a player in front of them. The protective seal that they used to have, that gives more access to that defensive guard to come through, and straight away it's paying dividends for Ireland.
So Williams was the back man at that ruck. He'd come in very late, and the referee had already told New Zealand to use it and to get the ball out, and it just rushed things slightly.
So to the left.
Going back, they were right to kick New Zealand. They didn't want to go through the phases and risk being turned over the kick, but they didn't get their setup in place quickly enough. Didn't get enough length in that ruck to protect Nine's kick. And Porter with a very, very good charge down.
So first scrum of the game, and Andrew Porter having set up this position with the charge down.
Get to the left of the mark, okay?
Now going to work.
Foot down. Do it again.
In the dark places. Ireland, of course, with a couple of men missing from their ideal front row. Dan Sheehan with an ACL injury. He'll be back in January or so, we hope. And, of course, Tyke Furlong, who's been the mainstay at tight head for so long. So Kelleher and Bealham